Today, let's walk through a flower stitch foot and how to use it. Welcome, I do sewing and DIY related content, and today we are going through the ultimate presser foot set, focusing on a flower stitch foot. So I had gotten this off Amazon. I think that these look so interesting and look really fun. Depending on what type of stitch you use on your sewing machine is how the flower stitch turns out. So we are going to dive into this, talk about how we use it, figure out how to set it up. I've done a few here. I did have some difficulties, as you can see, like having the stitch click all the way around, and I'll show you how I was able to resolve that as well. So to go through some troubleshooting. So here's our normal presser foot, and here is what the flower stitch foot looks like. So as you can see, there is a large size difference. The normal presser foot, very simple on the bottom. This one is much bigger. So you can see there's a lot going on. It goes in the circle pattern. We also have this foam on the bottom. And with this, we actually are going to be turning the feed dogs off on our sewing machine to get this to work. So there's a lot of different steps that are going on with this presser foot and how we have to set it up. So as you can see from the top that we have this circular pattern, we have this bar on the side, and there's a lot that we need to do to make sure everything is good for it to work. So first things first, when you are getting started, be sure you clean your machine. So this was the biggest issue I ran into, is if your machine is not clean, so especially in that bobbin area, if there's any lint or dust buildup, it will actually make it very, very difficult for the stitch to catch, and then you're going to end up with like a broken flower essentially. You could also try to add a new needle. That helped me a lot too. Doing those two things, that I was able to get this to work. So now it is just time to install this on our machine. So there's that hook on the side, as well as making sure that that silver bar goes over our needle bar as well. So I'm just going to be putting this behind, making sure that that silver bar is attached at the very top to our needle bar. And then I'm going to be attaching this very similarly, so making sure that where that little opening was, it lines up with the screw on the side, and then opening this as much as I need to, and then just securing this on. So using a screwdriver, using your fingers, whichever way works the best for you. So I like to use my fingers at first to get the screw in, and then once it is mostly secure, I go ahead and get a screwdriver and tighten it the rest of the way. So once everything is tightened, it is now time to turn off the feed dogs on your sewing machine. So this is very similar to like a darning foot, if you're familiar with that, or a freeform stitch. So we need to turn these off, as this is going to be turning around in a circle as we are sewing. So we do not want the feed dogs on our machine. I have this little lever on the back that I just switch. So depending on what your sewing machine is, you will want to turn those off. Once you have that done though, you can now lift up the presser foot, place it down, put your fabric into the center or wherever you're going to be adding that stitch, and then you just want to put your needle down into it, being sure that you are holding that top thread, and then you want to pull up the bobbin thread so that you have both strings now that you are holding. Once you have that, you have both strings secure, you can go ahead and very slowly begin stitching. So for this first one, I'm just going to be doing a straight seam, going all the way around, showing you what this looks like. So once I have this completed, you can then take it off. Here is what that circle looks like. It made just a circle, which is kind of fun. And now here's where we can start to play around with different stitches. So if you do a zigzag stitch, you're going to get a different type of flower. If you do a blind hem stitch, you'll get a different type of flower. There's a lot of different ways that you can play around with this and have really interesting looking designs. The big thing though is you always want to be sure that you are holding your thread and then you are pulling up the bobbin thread, as this is going to make sure you're starting off on the best foot that you can for the stitch. Now you just take your time, go all the way around with your fabric, and you will be able to get a really interesting looking flower or circular design. So as you can see, there's lots of different ways you could play around with this. I saw some people saying that they use like a double thread that we get two different colors going. There really are so many different possibilities with using this foot. Now you can make your flowers bigger or smaller depending on how you have that little screw in the back set up, if you have it really tight or if you have a little looser, and then you can do many different sizes. So you can see here I've done another stitch, which that was like your 3-stitch zigzag foot. So lots of different ways that you can go about this. I'm really excited to use this. I've tried using it on a quilt, which has turned out pretty well. It was a little difficult with all of the fabric layers, but I really do think that the possibilities are endless with this foot. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you see next. Also, let me know if you've used one of these before. Thanks for watching.